When Clara Morgan first saw the house on Ash Lane, it was late afternoon and the light had that brittle gold-tinged quality of early autumn. The realtor, a tall man with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes, told her the property had been empty for a few years, though the grass on the lawn looked as though it hadn't been cut in a decade. Clara didn't mind. She was looking for somewhere quiet, somewhere out of the way, a place to finish her novel. After the divorce and the city apartment full of other people's noise, she wanted solitude, even if that solitude felt heavy in the bones of the old house. It was a two-story Victorian, its paint faded to a weary shade of gray. Ivy clung to the porch railings like a memory that wouldn't die. The windows, tall and narrow, reflected the trees that stood sentinel along the lane. Tall ashes, their leaves trembling even when the air was still. The realtor mentioned something about the previous owner, a woman who'd lived alone after her husband's death, but his words blurred into the rustling leaves and the low moan of wind through the eaves. By dusk, Clara had signed the papers. The first night, the house spoke. Not in words, not even in a voice, but in a symphony of creaks and sighs as though settling around her, acknowledging her presence. She told herself old houses did that. But at 3:14 a.m., she woke to the faint sound of footsteps above her. Slow, deliberate, dragging steps. She lay frozen, listening. The previous owner had sealed off the attic. The realtor had said so. Something about unsafe beams. Clara's rational mind said the sound was probably the wind or a loose shutter. But the pattern of steps was too steady, too human. They started at one end of the ceiling and stopped directly above her bed. Then silence. The writing over the next week, Clara began writing again. The words came easily, flowing through her fingers as if whispered into her ear. Her novel, once a love story, shifted without her realizing it. It became darker. The plot twisted around a woman who moves into an old house and begins to feel watched by a presence that wants something from her, though it doesn't yet know what. Each night she heard the same sounds: slow footsteps, a soft scraping along the attic floorboards, and once a low humming, almost like a lullaby. One morning she found dust on the attic door, disturbed, as if someone had brushed past it. She told herself she was imagining it, until she found the handprint, faint, smudged into the dust near the attic latch, a small grayish print like the hand of a child. The letters. A month passed before she discovered the letters. They were in the parlor, behind the false back of an old cabinet. About a dozen of them, written in faded ink on yellowing paper. Each began the same way. Dearest Margaret. They were love letters, dated from the 1920s, signed by a man named Thomas Ainsworth. The writing grew increasingly erratic, the tone more desperate. You must come down from the attic. Please. The baby cries at night. The house is wrong without you. The final letter had no date, only a single line. She won't let us leave. The attic. Clara avoided the attic as long as she could. But the footsteps grew louder, closer, until one night, the latch on the attic door began to rattle on its own. Something wanted out. Or in. She couldn't sleep. Couldn't write. The house seemed to breathe around her, the walls flexing in the dark. Finally, one stormy evening, she climbed the narrow stairs with a flashlight. The air grew colder with each step. At the top was a small square door, the latch rusted. She lifted it. The smell of dust and rot hit her like a wave. Her flashlight beam swept across old trunks, broken furniture, then froze on a rocking chair. It was moving. Very slowly, forward and back, forward and back. There was no wind. She whispered, "Hello?" The chair stopped. Something moved in the corner, just a flicker of shadow. When she turned the light, she saw it. A woman's shape, thin and pale, hair hanging loose, eyes hollow. But what froze Clara wasn't the figure. It was what the woman was holding. A bundle of faded cloth, shaped like a baby. Then, in the silence, came the faintest sound. Rock, rock, rock. The ending. Clara fled the house that night, leaving everything behind. Her manuscript, her clothes, her phone. She didn't even remember getting into the car. Only the image of the house growing smaller in her rearview mirror, the attic window glowing faintly with light. Weeks later, the local sheriff found the manuscript. It ended mid-sentence. She stands by the attic door, whispering my name. She says she has been waiting for someone to write her back.